Hello and welcome to another Seismic Cinema podcast. I'm joined by Mary and our special guest, Mr. Neil Boyle.
Hello, Neil.
How's it going?
Okay, so Neil is joining us for this podcast to discuss his career so far as a movie director and to talk about his upcoming film. Neil, do you want to do the honours? We do know the name, but just to let you have your moment.
Oh, my film.
Your new film coming out.
1815.
There we go. We'll come back to that later. So we thought it'd be nice just to explain. We actually do know Neil. He's not just a random internet guest. My memories of Neil, one of my first memories of Neil was playing football on the school pitches. And yeah, you're below us in school. What point? When did you join the school? Was it like fifth year, fourth year?
Halfway through fourth, a really good year, halfway through fourth year.
Yeah. I just remember you kind of randomly appeared because we were obviously in fifth and sixth year in the classes with your year group.
Yeah, because you were in Brian's year, right? You're in Brian's year, so I just randomly appeared from nowhere, and everyone was like, "What?"
Who is this guy?
Who is
Also,
this?
Your name was Neil the Tank, and you're the skinniest guy I knew.
Yeah, do you know the story behind that? Why I get called Neil the Tank?
No.
I didn't know.
Oh, no way, right? So, do you remember a guy called Evan Middleton?
Yeah.
He was like huge rugby player, like he was. So basically, me and Evan started school in the same year. We started doing grammar in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think one day everyone was in like the forum, and one of the guys from my year was like, "Oh my god, have you seen the new guy, man? He's huge." Like obviously Evan's like a rugby player, and then Evan, like I walked through the door and everyone looked, and I was like, "It's 15-year-old guy," and everyone just burst out laughing. So that's how I got that nickname, and some people still call me it.
I hadn't thought about that nickname in ages, but that's really funny, and I'm quite glad we found that out in the podcast. That's an exclusive.
Thanks for helping me.
Everybody knew it back in school.
So that's where I first remember meeting Neil, was just kind of playing football back in the day. But more recently, he's been one of the top barmen in Dunoon, and he's always good value. Whereas did you work in the Braes as well, or did I make that up, or is it just a learn?
I know I worked in the Braes. I worked in the Braes for like 6 months when it like a long time ago.
So yeah.
But yeah, mainly the lawn and the commercial.
I'd say that's where I've probably got to know you better, actually, since you've been on that end of the bar.
Yeah, I mean, like we definitely know each other from school. Like I remember becoming friends we used in school and stuff, and then like obviously in the old Summerfields days.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I just remember you coming in and me having to train you in the checkouts in Summerfield. And the one thing I remember is you dropping the till full of money on the ground, and then you started picking it up, and just you were underneath the till putting the money on top of the till. And our old supervisor Pat, God bless her, she was walking past and she's like, "Where's all this money coming from?" Just all this money lying on top of this till, and then you just pop your head up like, "Oh, who's me?"
Oh.
Neil, have you got better at managing your finances since then? Since you're in charge of movie budgets now?
No. I don't. Me and finances don't go together. That kind of just sums me up though, eh? Like, I actually remember dropping all that money because it was just one piece everywhere, and I was like, oh. And then like Paul took me under his wing, and I became one of the best shelf stackers in the whole of Scotland.
Fastest hands in the West and checkouts.
Yeah, fastest hands in the West.
Right.
No, I actually got fired. No joke. I got bagged. I'm like, what's to say that?
Right. We can't mention introductions without mentioning the fact that when we first approached Neil to do this podcast, me and Paul just assumed he knew that Seismic Cinema was me and Paul. We'd sent it to people to like, etc. And then Neil's like, where are you based? And Paul's like, what does he mean, where are you based? I was like, well, he's probably just asking if we still live in Dunoon or moved elsewhere. And it turns out Neil just didn't know that it was us.
No jokes. I started following you and stuff. And I just thought you were like two wee guys from Glasgow doing it from like their basement or something. I had no idea it was you. And then when I was like, so where are you guys based? I'll come through. And they're like, it's Paul, Kelly, and Colin.
Yeah, because I was like, Colin, does he know it's us? And he's like, I don't think so.
Well, I look back at I look back for our messages to see if there's anything I wanted to include here, and I actually signed off the original message to you, Neil, with my name. Well, I just wrote Colin, like dash Colin, but it was. I'm glad that happened because it was quite a funny story to tell. So, right, Paul, you're going to ask Neil for a couple of his favourite things, movie related, and then I'm going to ask a couple before we get into discussing Neil's career and his projects.
Yeah, okay. So, based on our last couple of ranking videos and stuff, have you got a wee list of favourite actresses in mind?
Yes, I wrote a couple down.
Oh, well prepared.
Yes. Always come prepared. Right, so I find this one really difficult. But I guess just kind of recently, my favorite an actor that I really appreciated is Rooney Mara. Seen her in a good few decent performances, and she's just kind of first person that came to mind. Yeah, I think like I don't know, she's quite versatile. I mean, she is like quite still young. I think she's still got quite a big career ahead of her. But yeah, like from what I've seen her in so far, she's been pretty decent.
Yeah, is it Rooney that was in Nightmare Alley?
And what? Sorry,
was she in Nightmare Alley?
Good question. I've not seen that yet. She was. I guess her most kind of famous role was like that girl with the dragon tattoo.
Oh yeah, I think that's the same one. Yeah, I think so.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Neil, because I wasn't sure who you were talking about, but no.
Okay, good.
Neil, see if you've watched previous podcasts, you realise that Colin has not watched any movies and does not know anybody.
That's a good thing. It's a learning experience for.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it.
Yeah. God, you could be watching movies till the end of your days and still not know everything.
I know, that's true.
Yeah, so that was the kind of main one. You know what? I really like. I've said this before. I really like Cate Blanchett. I think she's also a kind of crush of mine as well.
She's in Nightmare Alley as well.
Really? I need to watch Nightmare Alley.
Was it her that made a cameo appearance in Hot Fuzz, or am I thinking of someone else?
Nah, she's like I guess you might know her best from Lord of the Rings. She was in Lord of the Rings. She was in Benjamin Button.
No, I know who she is. Thankfully, it's just there was a famous actress that made a. Have you seen Hot Fuzz? I assume.
Yeah, I've seen Hot Fuzz.
You know the scene where his like partner at the start of the film is at like a crime scene and he's talking to somebody and she's got a face mask on.
Oh,
Janine.
And it's someone famous, but I can't remember if it's her, if it's somebody else.
Maybe it is. Man, it's been that long since I've seen Hot Fuzz. It could be.
Okay,
I'm glad I got that one right anyway.
Yeah, cool. And do you know what's an actress that I do love, and I can't remember her name, but she's in Jurassic Park. She plays she's like the kind of main woman actor in Jurassic Park.
The original or the newer ones?
The original, the new ones. The original.
Laura Dern.
Yeah, I love her. I think she's brilliant.
She was rubbish in Star Wars Last Jedi, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's she's had such a good career. But actually, do you know what? I'm going to put her before Rooney Mara.
Special.
Yeah, I don't know. She's just got such like a. She's as an actor, she just gets such a kind of lovely disposition, and she always kind of plays really sensitive characters who are really kind of like empathetic and stuff. I think she's a great actor, and I don't know if she's ever been awarded for her performances, but she's definitely up there for me.
She's back. I think she's in the new Jurassic Park film that's coming out this year?
They need to stop making Jurassic Parks, man. It's getting too far now, honestly.
It's getting like Fast and Furious, isn't it?
Honestly, I can bet you any money in the next Jurassic Park, Dwayne the Rock Johnson and Kevin Hart will be in it.
Oh, that'd be class.
I know that. I'd watch that.
most probably. So, Paul, what was your other one then? Your favourite actresses and
the other one was your favourite movies, just not the best movies, just your personal favourite that you would kind of go back and watch if you really wanted to, just on a rainy day.
Me?
Yep, just your favourite, your kind of personal choice.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going for your actresses. Cool.
Oh, you're still going? On you go. If you got more, on you go, bud.
I thought you were going to give me yours, but is this just me?
Yeah, we've done individual podcasts on these, so we just picked out a few topics to ask you to see what yours were.
Right. Okay.
This is the spotlight firmly on you, mate. This is all you.
I don't on you. This is too much pressure for me, man. I don't know if I can do this.
You can just pass by any of the categories if you're unsure.
Right. Okay. So, favorite movie, difficult question, but I wrote a couple down. Like my kind of all-time favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life, and I know it's a Christmas movie, but you just can't fault it. Like for me personally, always brings a tear to my eye. And one that I always come back to is have you ever seen? These are all kind of Hollywood films. I do watch kind of other kind of European or world cinema, but have you seen Good Will Hunting?
It's on my list.
It's on you. I've seen it years ago.
Did you like it?
I actually did, yeah. It's one of these ones that's kind of like I've seen it years ago, but I can't remember really a lot about it. But I've definitely seen. It's just
I remember the speech. I know the famous line. I actually sat down to watch it one night, and then Aileen told me we weren't watching that, so that was it. But I will go back to it.
Matt, Colin, you need to put your foot down. This is cinema we're talking about.
Actually, funny enough, I was going to go see It's a Wonderful Life with my mother at Dunoon Cinema. They were showing it at Christmas time.
That's right.
And it just didn't happen in the end. So I haven't actually seen it, but I'll definitely see it by this time next year. I promise.
I mean, if you can catch A Wonderful Life in the cinema, you should. It is truly, it's a great film. But Good Will Hunting, again, it's just like they just don't make them like that anymore. It's just great writing, great acting as well. I think it was like Matt Damon in his early years, and he gave a great performance. And Robin Williams as well. He got an Oscar for that performance. It's just a combination of like a great director, really, really, really good writing, and great performances. And it's just such like a really lovely story. It's quite hard hitting, but I think that's kind of one of my favourites. And something that I'd kind of like watch on a Sunday afternoon probably be like Indiana Jones 3: Last Crusade.
Nice.
Like I just always remember that being on TV on a Sunday, and I could watch that all the time. It's just such a good movie.
That's what it's about for us. All the rankings we do, it's just like our favourites. We did a top 10 movies, and it was literally just what movies would you want to stick on the telly if you're just chilling out or you've got people over, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sundays is just such a good day to just put something on and just before you know it, it's like 9:30 at night and you've watched like 4 films. That's what I wrote down. Like I didn't want to go like too far. Like I've got another movie down here that I thought you guys might be interested in watching. It's kind of like it's a kind of art house movie that I really love. It's called In the Mood for Love. It's a Chinese film and it's set in the 60s. It's set in the 60s Hong Kong. And it's just a kind of really weird love story about these two people who move in next door to each other. And they're both married. And it's just about how that kind of like relationship develops. But it's a really, really, really beautifully shot film. It's just like, it's really stunning. And it's just the way the story's told over a period of 15 years. And it's a movie I watched when I was kind of starting to like kind of learn more about cinema and kind of like open my horizons to watching different types of films, and I was just blown away by it. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's not something you're going to watch when you're like rough on a Sunday. If you're kind of looking to try new things, like it is a very beautiful film. So, and there's a lot of great Chinese cinema. But yeah, if you get the chance, you should watch that. The director's called Wong Kar-wai. He's quite a really well-known Chinese director, and he's made a couple of like really, really good films. He's like quite a well-respected director around the world. But yeah, I just thought I'd add that in because that's kind of like it left an impact on me.
Nice
Paul,
choice.
Paul, you got that written down?
I actually do, yeah.
Paul,
Yeah, but I
makes
mean,
sense.
Sorry.
No, you.
I was going to say watch Good Will Hunting before you watch In the Mood for Love.
Definitely will. I definitely will. Right, we had a couple of extra questions before we get into your story. Do you want a couple more questions, or was that enough pressure for you?
Fire away.
Right, this one might be a quick one, depending on your answer. Our most recent ranking video was Spider-Man movies. Are you a Spider-Man fan?
Yes.
And if so, what's your favourite Spider-Man film?
It's the first one, man. It has to be the first one for me.
Nice.
Tobey.
Like, the original Tobey one, yeah.
Old Toby boy. Like, I just remember in 2001 when that first came out, it was like the first superhero movie to like ever, basically, apart from like, I think they did a Spider-Man film in the 70s or something. And I was just blown away, man. And I was like, what age was I in 2001? Well, I'm 25 now, so
I'd have been 10, so you'd have been about 9, probably.
Yeah, I was 9, and honestly, man, I was just like, I had the poster on my wall. Yeah, just I love the first one. I mean, don't get me wrong, the new ones are decent.
Yeah,
I do like Tom Holland. But yeah, it's going to be the first one for me always. What about you? What did you do?
Well, we can't give this away on air. It'll discourage people from watching our.
Yeah, sorry.
You'll find it down here somewhere, wherever that may be.
Okay.
So the other question was, and this may be a harder one to do on the spot. What's your favorite movie in terms of overall soundtrack? Like, what movie stands out for you as one with just an amazing score?
Right.
You can come back to that one if it's too heavy hitting.
Have you got 10 minutes? Right. So I wrote this down. So my favorite movie in terms of soundtrack has to be one of two. And I'll explain why. So the first one is There Will Be Blood, and Johnny Greenwood is the composer. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen it, no.
Right, you'll love it. I don't know. I mean, what kind of are you guys? It's just like as you know, Johnny Greenwood was a guitarist for Radiohead, and then he scored. His first composing job was for There Will Be Blood, which is kind of like one of the pillars of like American cinema. Paul Thomas Anderson's movie. It's just like it's absolutely amazing in every way, and the soundtrack is just like it just kind of gives the film this kind of almost like a horror vibe. And it's just very beautifully composed, and it just adds something to the film that you can't really describe. It just adds this kind of feeling to it. I mean, usually when you watch a kind of Hollywood movie, like the kind of the soundtrack kind of assists the film in telling the story, and it's kind of part of the storytelling. But in this film, it kind of seems different. It almost kind of seems like the soundtrack's kind of separate from the film, except it totally works, and it's just really immense. And when I first watched that movie, it just always stuck with me. Johnny Greenwood, he's just a master, especially at composing, and he's done a few films since then as well. And the soundtrack has just been just crazy. But I know you guys like. I watched your last podcast. I think Strachan, he mentioned like Guardians of the Galaxy for soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a great shout because sometimes you get a movie and it's just got all these amazing songs in it. But I guess like I kind of relate more to that kind of composed soundtrack, if you know what I mean.
I think we all mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy. I think we were going for more like that kind of idea.
Yeah.
Rather
sorry,
than
was that?
No, but that's fine. I think we did include a few, but it was like that kind of score as well. But when I was personally doing it, I was thinking more of like the actual songs in the film rather than like an overall score. But it's subjective. So.
Yeah, I think I was talking about ones like in the rock, like Hans Zimmer and stuff like that, like composer music wise. So it wasn't like all kinds of like pop kind of stuff we had. It's all different vibes. So that's a nice wee choice as well.
Sweet. I mean, like I did write. So I want to mention one more because I watched it the other night for the first time in years, probably about 10 years, and like, man, the soundtrack. Well, the soundtrack just kind of like, it just gives me chills. It makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand up, and I don't know why, but it is a very beautiful soundtrack, and it's James Horner for the Braveheart soundtrack.
All right.
And I watched Braveheart the other night. I was on BBC iPlayer, and I just watched it, and like, do you know what? There's so many things wrong with that film, and there's so many things I do like have a problem with. But man, it's such a good movie. And like, just this soundtrack was just, it was making me teary eyed, and I don't even know why, because I don't even particularly like the bagpipes. But I was just like, man, this soundtrack is just so good. It's like, it's a great movie, even though there's loads wrong with it in terms of like historical inaccuracy. But yeah, like, that's kind of one thing I love as well about, you know, when you find a movie and it's just got a really, really nice soundtrack, it kind of just brings so much more to the film for me, and it kind of gives rewatch value, like, because you're not just watching a film as well, you're also listening to like basically like an orchestra, and you can, you know, it's just crazy. But yeah, 500 Days of Summer as well, like in terms of actual soundtrack, like that, I thought that was pretty cool. Like I watched that a long time ago, and I remember I downloaded the soundtrack when I first watched it, and it was just like so many bangers on it, just kind of like music.
That's what I do. See, if I find a film I like the music in, I always follow their playlist on Spotify, because you can just get the whole soundtrack there. So it does. It can just put you in a really good mood as well, I think, sometimes. See, like mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy. You seen Baby Driver?
Yeah,
that's got a great soundtrack as well. So yeah, it's I really enjoyed doing that episode about the soundtrack.
Yeah. And there's plenty of awful singing as well.
There was,
yeah, I actually watched that one.
all in good fun. So we got on to Neil's story then. Paul, you were going to kick us off with your question. We actually did quite a lot of prep here, more than we've done for any other podcast.
Oh really? Oh my god! Right, okay.
Come up with some stuff.
Okay, well, you're not gonna catch me out and like.
No. No, like, this is like, we've got the questions, you've got the answers, so we'll listen to you.
Right, so the first question was, which cast member do you hate the most? No, I'm kidding on.
I've already got that written down, by the
way. No, the first question I had was like basically, just such a fascinating journey that you've been on, like seeing you going from like the Summerfield days where we were just like daft wee kids, and now like you're directing films. So it's like, what made you actually want to focus in on the film industry and kind of chase that dream?
I was just thinking there, like you're probably like, when you watch me drop that till and then money went everywhere, you were like, this wee guy's going nowhere, man.
Hopefully don't think I trained him.
I hope he's not planning to do a career or anything. No, do you know, like I'm kind of one of these late bloomers. Like I was kind of like working all the way up until I was like 21, and like I applied to do social sciences in Paisley Uni. I think it was UWS at the time, and I'd done that course for about 9 months, and I loved social sciences and stuff. Like I really wanted to, like, I don't know, maybe I was going to become a lecturer or something. I don't know. But it was an interesting subject matter, and I ended up just being kind of like not enjoying it. And my whole life, I've always kind of like loved movies, and I've always kind of like had ideas. Like even I used to work like at the courthouse services, and I would print till paper off when there was no customers, and I would write stories down on the till paper. And like I always had it in my head. Like when I was younger, I had a scrapbook for movies and stuff, and I always had posters on my wall. And it's really like, it's not anything like special in terms of anyone else's like childhood and stuff, but I just always remember I would love to like do something creative, and I always just loved movies. And like I suppose like kind of when I became like 12 and upwards, I just always thought, you know, like I would love to kind of make a movie and stuff. And then when I was in this uni course, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to patch this and I'm going to apply for something else. And on the list of things I could have transferred to was a filmmaking course, and I thought to myself, like, do you know what? Like, why not? Like, I'll apply and see how it goes. And I applied for the course, and I went down for the interview, and like the lecturer was like, you know, write me a 500-word essay on a movie you've seen recently, and I just wrote down. I think I'd watched. You've seen The Place Beyond the Pines?
Is that the one with? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Not Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, so I'd watched that like a week before, so I just wrote something on that, and I got accepted on the course, and I thought, you know, I'll just do it, and it ended up being like a really like beneficial decision, because then I went through uni and I met loads of interesting people, and I learned a lot about kind of like cinema. And to be honest, like the uni course wasn't even about technical filmmaking. There was a lot of theory as well, and the theory classes opened my eyes to different types of cinema. And you know, like as a filmmaker, you're always learning from other people's work. So when you're watching kind of all sorts of cinema from all parts of the world, you're still learning. You're taking in different points of view, and you're seeing different styles, and it's not all just Hollywood. But then there was the kind of actual filmmaking part of the course, and it was just like, you know, the end of the year, go away, make a movie, and come back and we'll screen it, and then you get marked on it. And it was just like, wow, this is amazing. So I just really thrived.
So what was your movie about then you did as part of your course?
Well, actually, in second year, me and my two friends, we done a movie like based around in a pool room. So I was living down in Ayr at the time, and we wrote a wee script and made it in the pool room about this wee guy who goes into a pool room, kind of like a wee homeless dude, and he goes into a pool room.
Is it based on Brian?
Eh?
Is it based on Brian?
No. He might have been an inspiration, but no. Yeah, like basically this wee guy goes into this pool room to like use the toilet, and he finds someone's wallet. And then the guy that's wallet he finds ends up asking him for a game of pool, and then they end up playing for money and stuff, and it all kind of becomes a bit entangled. And it got selected for the Glasgow Short Film Festival.
Yes.
So that was just a kind of like a wee buzz, but that was just something that we made for uni, you know, and we got it screened and stuff, and it was great. But yeah, that was a second year film, and in the third year film, it was just a kind of like a kind of magical fairy tale type thing we did. And then the year after that, then I went to Germany for 6 months through Erasmus, and then I came back and I done my graduate film that I shot in Dunoon. And I kind of wrote my graduate film based around the time when I moved back to Dunoon after Germany, and I was kind of just feeling a bit disconnected from the town. Like I was trying to do my dissertation, and I had been away for like 6 months, and I was just kind of like feeling a bit kind of like I need to kind of get back into living in the small town and stuff. And I just kind of wrote this script about this guy who had been away and had came back after a long period of time. And it's a kind of like really weird. I'll send you it, right? Did you guys watch my graduate film?
I've not seen that.
It kind of rings a bell a wee bit. Is it on your YouTube?
I saw on Vimeo. Oh, it's you know, wee bit upper class here, boys. My Vimeo channel. I'll send you it, right? But I'm because like the main actor fell through. Did he? Am I just making that up? No, I acted in it, so it's a bit of a kind of sometimes cringe because I had to be in it. But it's like 15 minutes long, and it's quite like there's a few folk from Dunoon in it. But I mean,
is Kyle in it?
Eh?
Kyle in it?
Kyle's not in this one, no.
You did a couple of short skits during the pandemic or earlier on, didn't you? Because one of my close friends is in one of your videos. He ends up in a bin or something. Mikey.
Oh yeah.
Did I not end up on BBC Social?
No. Yeah, so that was different. That was I don't know how that happened. I was doing some short sketches for the BBC The Social, and I just remember meeting Mikey in the pub, and then he was like, "Mate, let's do some videos together." And then the BBC Social was like, "Let's do a couple of skits." And then I was like, I just messaged Mikey because he was always so keen. Like, you always meet people out in the pub that are like, "Oh man, we need to do a sketch and that." And you think this would be class because there's so many funny people in Dunoon that I would love to do sketches with. But Mikey was actually serious about doing it, so that was fun. But yeah, like that was very short-lived because the BBC, The Social, they're quite. They basically just tell you what they want instead of like I'll send them a script and they'll be like, "Can you change everything about it and just put your name on it?"
Yeah.
But that was good fun.
So I had a vague memory. That's a random bit of trivia I remembered. I remembered you went to Air Campus. That's where you did your course, wasn't it?
Yeah, I done an Air, and then I finished that. I moved back to Dunoon for a while, and I just kind of just hit a bit of a lull. I was just working. I didn't actually really do much after uni for about a year. I had quite a big. I went into hospital and I had quite a big surgery, which kind of had me out of the game for a while. So like out of the game, I say that as if like, yeah. So I had a big surgery and I got my mum to document it. So my mum filmed me going into hospital and getting this big operation, and I kind of made just to kind of bide my time and to like keep myself going. I made a wee documentary out of it, a wee kind of 15-minute documentary, like a kind of personal journey type thing. And that was kind of all I did until the coffin walk, pretty much. Like, yeah, just that was that.
You're doing our job for us here.
Sorry, am I just like?
No, that's good. It means we don't need to. So, my second question was just about early projects, but you covered that talking about your university project. So, Paul, you want to lead in with the coffin walk?
Yeah, so just basically, because you wrote and directed it, and the coffin walk is a bit of a crazy adventure.
Yeah, I was like literally for the character.
So just to see what kind of really inspired it, because surely that mind of yours couldn't have came up with that debauchery.
It's actually, do you know there's a coffin? There's a coffin trail in Dunoon, yeah.
I didn't know that. Do you know that?
I saw something about it when I was doing my research.
Oh, research. Yes. So do you know up in Glenkin? Do you know how really we take your dog?
Oh, yeah, I've been up there before.
You've done the big Glenkin loop, haven't you? Oh, there's like a wee site, and then you come to the end of the loop, well, like kind of halfway, and then it says the coffin trail.
Right.
So I was just up there one day with my family walking the dogs, and I was like, the coffin trail. And I looked it up, and apparently used to take coffins over that big hill at Glenkin all the way through to Glenstriven.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought no chance. There's no way they take coffins over that hill. I was like, that's enough to actually put you into your grave, man. That's wild. So I don't know why, but I just started going with, like, my mind just works in a really weird way. Like, as soon as I get an idea, I just roll with it. I just won't lose it until I've either written 20 pages of a script and then I crush it up into a ball and throw it in the bin, or just something happens with it. But I ended up just writing this script in like a week, and I just called it the Coffin Walk, and that was it. And like, that's just how that started. I was just like, this is just comedy gold. Like, imagine these 5 guys have to take this coffin over this hill, and like, it's kind of like a family kind of like road trip type thing where none of them really want to be there, but they have to do it anyway, as if they've been kind of told to do it. So yeah, I was like 15 pages. I wrote it in like, I think it was a week or 2 weeks, and then I just kind of started sending it to people that I had worked with in uni, like my friends who I'd made films with in university, and they all loved the script. They thought let's go, and then we got a producer on board, and then we'd done a wee crowdfunding campaign, and we raised about 500 quid. So the overall budget for the coffin walk was £2,500. I put the $2,000 in of my own money, and then we raised £500 in a crowdfunding campaign, and then we shot it. I think it was like a 4.5-5 day shoot.
You're doing crowdfunding for the new film as well. I'm showing off a bit, but as part of my research, I found the page. So you're doing a bit of crowdfunding for 1815 as well.
Yeah, I like having a stalker.
Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it.
Actually quite nice. Yeah, we done a bit of crowdfunding for that, and it went quite well. It's just, you know what it is though. It's just a bit of I hate, like, it literally took me a week to record that video because we jazzed the video up for the 1815 crowdfunding campaign, and we added loads of clips from films and stuff, and it was quite like, it looked as if a lot of work went into it. But I just hate talking in front of camera. Like, I know this is different because we're in a podcast, but that was absolutely brutal, setting up the camera and trying to talk into the camera, because I've got a really short attention span. So I had this big kind of like thing memorized, and then I would just start talking, and because I was just looking at the lens of the camera, I would always forget what I was saying. So I just got really frustrated because I was like, I can't do this. So I got the producer on a video call, and she was like asking me questions, and I was talking to the camera. I was like, man, I hate this. I really hope one day someone gives me money to make a film like proper, so that I don't have to do crowdfunding every time, because I hate trying to ask people for money on camera. It's just sad. But
we should try that. We should see if people give us money.
I'll give you money.
Yeah. So Neil, something that both Paul and I are really fascinated about is, we would have the first idea how to make a film. Like, how do you get the producer? How do you hire your actors and your actresses? Like, can you talk us through just as much detail as you can? Like, what's involved in the process, and what do you enjoy, and what's difficult about it?
I can't actually give away any secrets of the trade, you know.
We need to get you off then.
I guess, like, for me, like in Scotland, particularly in the kind of Central Belt, there's a huge filmmaking community, and it's kind of mostly, if not all, independent filmmaking. And there's Facebook groups where people go on and they're always posting their work and casting calls and projects that they're up to. And it really is amazing. There's so many filmmakers in Scotland that are just kind of chipping away and trying. So, like, obviously I met a lot of contacts in uni, just people who are like-minded. Don't get me wrong, when you go to university and you're studying like filmmaking, like, a lot of the time it's what you make of it. Like, you know, a lot of the time you're going to classes where it's just theory, so you don't really learn enough about actual filmmaking. When they tell you this is your assessment, go and make a film, you're just learning by doing. The lecturers don't actually teach you how to make a film. So in a way, you're already self-taught, because they're just like, here's a camera, write a script, go and make your film and come back and we'll mark it for you. And that's kind of like, that's how we learned. And you kind of cut your teeth in uni by working with people, and like, you know who's not going to stick in, because it's the people that are always late, the people that don't really care about the projects, people that don't really care about the marks. And like, you could just tell straight away who was passionate about what they were doing and who wasn't. And I was one of those people. And when you leave uni, you're always kind of like, I want to make a film. Who can I contact that would be interested? And I was lucky enough to have a couple of friends that I studied with, and we had made films in university, that I was like, here's the Coffin Walk script. Do you want to do this? I mean, it could be quite fun. And they loved the script. But you know what, if it wasn't for them, I could have just posted the script online on Facebook and said, you know, is anyone want to work in this? But you really start off from zero, and the more people that you work with and the more people that you prove, you know, I'm a passionate person, I'm going to turn up, I'm reliable. You know, you don't want to be working with people that aren't going to be on set on time, because everyone's grafting, and everyone's like, you know, sometimes you're turning up to set at 6 a.m. and you don't want someone turning up at 8 o'clock and just not caring. You want to be with people that want to be there. So I guess, like, they always say the best foundation for a film is just a really good story. Like, so when I wrote the Coffin Walk, it was like 15 pages, and you know, I think it went through a couple of drafts, and when you're actually shooting as well, like when you're shooting the film, you know, things that might be funny on the page don't actually kind of come out funny, whether it's the directing or the performances. So sometimes you kind of give a couple of ad-libbing moments, or sometimes on the day, something comes up, you're like, you know what, try this, try that. And with the Coffin Walk, we tried to do a lot of kind of physical filmmaking comedy, like, and what I mean by that is, like, see when you watch like Shaun of the Dead or Edgar Wright stuff, you know, a lot of his comedy comes through actual kind of like filmmaking techniques such as editing and like lighting. So, you know, a lot of like camera movements that kind of make jokes funnier, and we kind of try to do that with the Coffin Walk. We try to make comedy more visual rather than just having a lot of kind of jokes written down. So yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of what if you've got a good script, basically, then you're not really going to have a problem getting people to come on board, because like anyone recognizes a good story, and anyone recognizes a good script, especially in the industry.
Paul, get that dog under control.
I know. Sorry.
So Neil, were all the actors and actresses involved? Are they all people you knew? There was no external people at all?
No, are you talking about the Coffin Walk? For the Coffin Walk, I didn't know anyone. We put out a casting call, and then I ended up actually, and I've done this for 1815 as well. I actually just message actors individually, asking if they want to read the script and take part in the film. Like, I sometimes feel casting calls are so auditions can be so impersonal. I feel as if sometimes you can really get to know someone, especially an actor, is by just meeting up with them and like feeling them out, seeing kind of what they're like, what their personality's like, you know. Because when we were in uni, we done for one of our short films in university, we done like a casting day. Was it a casting day? An audition day, and it didn't feel right. So I like messaging people. So like, for example, all the cast of the Coffin Walk, I messaged them with the script. I was like, how you doing? I've seen some of your work. I've seen you online. I've seen some of your films, or I've met you. Do you want to have a look at this script? And do you want to like maybe consider being in the film? I done it with 1815 as well. I think we actually only casted properly one person. Everyone else I just messaged individually and just said, do you want to be in the film?
So there's nobody from the Coffin Walk that's in 1815?
Yeah, John McQuiston. So John, the main character of the Coffin Walk, is in 1815. John McQuiston. I don't know if you guys have seen John on TV yet, but John's been on some. He was in The Nest. He's done a couple of TV commercials as well. So John's. I just think he's great. Like he's just, and he gets it as well because he's so experienced. Like when I messaged him for 1815, after the Coffin Walk, we just kind of developed a really nice professional relationship. I think it was kind of one of those things where John was like, if you ever write anything again, write me in, because I'd love to be part of it. And I felt really like, wow. So I wrote him into 1815 and he was just like, yes, 100%.
That's pretty cool, because that's quite a well-known show. My parents have actually started watching The Nest, so I'll tell them to look out for the guy.
I actually don't know. I've actually not watched The Nest yet. I don't know what role John has in it, but I know that he is in it. But it's just funny because like ever since the Coffin Walks, some of my friends, like, they'll see John on TV and they'll pause it and they'll screenshot it. And it'll be like a Tesco advert or something. And they'll be like, "That's John McQuiston. Was he not here? Was he not in the Coffin Walk?" And I was like,
this is a good opportunity for me and Paul to say, if you ever need extras, you can count us in.
Oh yeah, of course.
No.
Actually, Paul would have been good in 1815 because you've got like a big gnarly beard. That's like you'd have suited back then. Yeah, no. If I ever need extras,
have you ever watched? You'd probably quite like it. You probably have seen it. It's the one that Ricky Gervais Extras.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Is that got any like realism to what it's really like? Is there any kind of similarities of anything you get to?
Yeah, like obviously I'm just kind of starting out, to be honest. Like I've not had the privilege yet of being in any big movie sets and stuff, and I've not met any kind of high profile people, and I'm not really bothered about that kind of stuff. But I have worked in sets and extras. There's a lot of sitting about. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, actors, like, there's a lot of sitting about, and it's sometimes, well, for me, I'm like stressed out my box. Like, I'm like losing hair and stuff. But sometimes for actors, it's like literally waiting about for hours until the next shot. So, like in that sense, I loved the extras. So I thought it was brilliant. Like, just like you can imagine famous people being like that. Like, they're all just like sociopaths. Like, I just thought that was brilliant. But yeah, I mean, that's how an actor would probably cut their teeth as well. If they're not getting auditions, they'd probably just need to take extra work as well. So it's no, there is a wee, there's a lot of truth in that, but I can't speak for anything else in that.
Never know what happened in the future. Paul, so you were up. You've got the last wee question for the main section.
So after 1815, what is your?
Oh, you're a step ahead.
Oh, I'm going too far. Sorry, the dogs have put me right off.
No, that was maybe a miscommunication on my part. Neil, do you want to just explain to listeners what 1815 is all about, when we'll be able to see it, where we'll be able to see it, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So 1815 it's a short film set in the 19th century Highlands. It's a story set during the Highland clearances, and it's about an old tenant farmer who sets out on a search, and a relentless search. And on his way, he meets a Waterloo veteran. He meets a young soldier who's returned from the Battle of Waterloo, who's kind of like riddled with PTSD, and they end up kind of forming this kind of like unlikely camaraderie, you could say, and they go on this kind of search through the Highlands together. And yeah, it's a gritty drama. It's serious. It's a historical drama. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say without giving too much away, but it's the Highland clearances is a part of Scottish history, a huge part of Scottish history that has never been on the screen before. And it was amazing just looking into that part of Scottish history. And yeah, I think anyone that doesn't know about it, they should look into it, because it was a part of Scottish history that happened over a period of kind of like from 1760 to like kind of 1840, and there was thousands upon thousands of Scottish Gaelic people who were displaced from their lands. They were just basically moved off their homes, their ancestral homes, and basically left to fend for themselves. So yeah, it wasn't nice. But yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Colin. Like, I mean, the reason why I kind of was attracted to the clearances is because we never learned about that part of the history in school. Did you remember that?
I don't remember learning about it. No, I only did history like first and second year, though. I didn't take it further on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't remember learning about it in school, and I was just I was attracted to it. I thought,
I'll speak to my colleagues and I'll see if it's something that they're doing now.
Yeah. I've heard about it, but like I don't think it was ever kind of top mainstream about it. I think it was kind of maybe mentioned, but it's never part of the main curriculum.
I'll mention it to Mr. Darkins when I'm back after the holidays.
Mr. Darkins.
I'll tell him he said I shout out in this, and I'll get him to watch it.
Tell me come along to the screen.
I will do. Yeah, I'll message him.
Bring a friend.
I will actually message him.
Bring a +1. No, so yeah, it's 19 minutes long. I'm just trying to make this sound as interesting as possible, but I feel as if I'm failing here. It's 19 minutes long. It's playing in Dunoon on the 16th as part of the Dunoon Film Festival. They were kind enough to include it, and they're going to put on a wee showing of it for us. There's going to be a bar, so there's going to be booze.
What time's it at, Neil?
The doors open at 1:30.
And what time are you on?
Good. I think it's 2:00, and then there's a cast and crew screening afterwards. So there's going to be like me, the producer, and a few others. John McQuiston's going to be there. There's going to be like a few We're going to be releasing this information on social media, but there's going to be like a wee casting crew Q&A after it. So
did we just get an exclusive there?
You got an exclusive, yes.
Is it just your film, Neil? Because the last time there was quite a few films. Is it just for you, this one?
Yeah, it's just mine this time, which is quite exciting because, it's like it's just going to be focused on 1815, and I think people have kind of shown support and they really want to see it. So it's going to be quite exciting for people to actually see it, and hopefully we get a full house. But yeah,
yours,
so
yours was my favourite. Yours was my favourite out of the ones we saw that time, anyway. So.
Oh, you're just saying that, Colin.
Nah.
He says that to all the directors.
I know. I say that to all the directors are getting the show.
You're the first one we've had. So, so just before we move on to a few last minute things, Paul, I think this was the question you started asking a wee while ago.
Right, what was it? Because these dogs are doing my head in. Like, they just woke up from a nap, and the wee Dalmatian is just doing my head in. Sorry.
That's why you get cats.
Yeah. I was actually, just before when we were talking about 1815 there, just a kind of thing I was thinking about. So are you quite interested in your history and that's why you made the film, or did you just come up with it and decide to roll with it and look into it more, kind of thing?
Nah, I started looking into the clearances. Like I basically just woke up one day and went, you know what, I want to make I want to look into Scottish history and see if I can like make a film about like the clearances. I just, like I said, I went with it in my mind, and then I ended up like buying. I bought a few books. I bought a few Highland clearances books, and I read them, and I spent a couple of months reading into the clearances and stuff, and then I didn't actually come up with the story until like January. So I said to myself I was going to make the film 1815 and like I think it was like September, October, probably like late October, and I didn't actually start writing the script until January. Because
January this year.
No, January last year.
Last year, right.
Because like there's so much. That's the thing with the clearances. It's not a very well documented part of history, but there's so much to read. So I was just doing loads of research, and like it was just mental. There was just so much like information to take in. So I didn't actually write the script until a bit further on. But yeah, like the story that I developed is just the way I felt would be best for me to tell the story of the clearances, because I'm not Gaelic. I'm not from the Highlands. So like for me, I had to do like the utmost respect of telling the Highland clearances story. So like when I wrote the script, I feel like the story is kind of more about human struggle rather than like the full political, like geopolitical thing that happened in history. Do you know what I mean? It's more about what happens to the people. That's why I kind of made it about two characters, because I thought, I'll get as much broad scope as I can in this story with these two characters. So yeah, then the script came along, and we went through I think we went through about 13 versions of the script, 13 drafts, and I think the script got finished in about February. And that again was about 15 pages long, and I worked closely with Toria, the producer, on that. I was sending her versions of the script every week, and she was giving me feedback and stuff, and she was really she came on board in like December, January, and she was kind of really passionate about the script, and she really wanted to kind of see how it developed. And yeah, that was it. I just woke up one day and went, I'm going to make a film about the clearances, and just went with it, and here I am.
I wish we had that kind of inspiration first thing in the morning. I think it shows. I think it shows two things. I think it shows your versatility coming from doing the Coffin Walk, which was more a dark comedy, but also shows your dedication to what you do in terms of doing all the research.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People that know me best know that I jump into things without really thinking about them.
Like this podcast.
Which is why I'm down in Southampton right now.
Yeah, why are you in Southampton? I said I was going to ask you that.
I got a job down here.
Okay.
But yeah, just to finish on that last point, like the thing with the Scottish film industry is that there's so many amazing things. There's so many amazing Scottish stories. There's so many amazing things about Scotland and our culture that deserve to be on screen, deserve to be told stories about, but it's just not there. Like there's just no films getting made, and I just thought, you know what, let's do a film about the clearances. Why not? Because it's a really, really like interesting part of Scottish history, and there's a lot of drama there, but also it's something that's never been told. It's never been on screen before. And who knows? I mean, the way the Scottish film industry is right now, there might never be another film about it. So, like, I feel kind of privileged to say, you know, this is the only film about the clearances, and I think we've done it justice. Because that's another thing I was going to say is that, you know, it's our job in the 1815 team to make this film as accurate and as authentic as possible. So, you know, it wasn't just about me writing the story. It was about getting people involved that knew their history, getting historical experts on board and Gaelic language experts. Like, it was all about making sure everything was down to a T, and making sure that we were kind of doing that part of history justice. Anyway.
I think you've definitely sold it now. I'm looking forward to seeing it on the 16th.
Oh, thank you. I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a good day, and I think there's a good chunk of the cast and crew coming as well. I think there's going to be a lot of the crew there, and I think the Q&A, even if people hate the film, at least the Q&A will be interesting.
I'm really looking forward to it because I haven't seen the trailer yet, and because I don't like watching trailers in case it spoils it for me, kind of thing.
Oh, you've not seen the trailer? Oh, what?
You know, I tried to watch the trailer, but although another YouTube video was watching, this was working. There was no sound, but it wasn't muted. I don't know if it was just me.
It's probably just you.
The trailer that I put out?
On I think it was on the Facebook event.
Oh, wait. Yes, sorry. So
the volume wasn't working for some reason.
The actual trailer was on my Facebook and the 1815's Facebook page, but I don't know. The Borough Hall did post, but maybe I don't know, maybe the sound didn't work. I'm not sure.
Check it out after this. And I did try and find it, and I found it, but it just didn't have any sound for some reason. I don't know why that was the case, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work went into it. I think I'm really proud of it, and I hope the audience connects with it. I think I'm going to look back in years to come and just be really glad that I made it.
Well, we hope it goes.
To be honest, it sounds totally like my kind of deal kind of thing. Like good grounded characters and like a story that you can really get into. So I judge it just by like listening to your passion. And now I think if it's anything half as passionate as like you're saying, it's going to be a real treat.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's going to be nice to actually see you in person there, so we can actually.
I don't even see Paul in person that often since we started doing this. Whenever I bump into him, it's a bit weird. It's like get back in the box.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think like for me as well. I feel really like it's nice to know that your community supports you, and like especially in Dunoon, you know, like I've been working in a bar for the last 5 years, and like I loved it. But it's nice to know that people support what you do, and like, you know, people come out to see films all the time, and it's just kind of like it's really, I feel privileged to say that, you know, like who knows, maybe in like 5 years time, if I've made a feature film, you know, I'll screen it in Dunoon and people will come to see it because people in your community like to kind of see that you're doing well, and they love to see your work. So it's really nice.
I'm going to be getting your autograph in April, and then when you hit it big, I'm going to sell that bad boy on eBay for a good couple of sheets.
I don't think that's going to be worth anything ever.
You never know. So, Neil, we had a couple of final wee questions, favourite things to ask before we sign off for today. So I think who was up first? It was me, actually. Right? Have you still got it in you for a couple more answers?
Oh, of course.
You can pass on them if you want. Favorite movie villain of all time?
Oh, right. So I've got two.
Okay.
Right. So always the obvious one for me is like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Nice. He was in our rankings, I think.
Like, yeah, I think he just changed. He changed the game. He changed the game, and yeah, I mean, if I put a lot more thought into it, I could probably find a good few. But I just thought like the next one for me was Imhotep from The Mummy.
Okay.
Oh, nice from the original. Yeah, what's his face? Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, like The Mummy is one of. I probably should have put The Mummy on one of my lists, but The Mummy was like, I think I was like 8 when that first came out, and my dad snuck me into the cinema to see it, and I just remember being like, I was just mind blowing because I was like, this movie is so good, but I just remember being really scared of Imhotep.
It was the wee scarabs that got me. The wee scarab beetles.
The wee scarab beetles, but like, see, before he became like in his human form, when he was like still kind of half mummy, I was always really scared of that. So, like, Imhotep, he's up there for me. Like, he was a good villain.
I like that. I like how they've just got their own wee insights with these villains and stuff like that. It's great just seeing all the different kind of perspectives.
Yeah, this is a good time to ask you actually. Since you said about wanting to put more thought into things, would you be interested in coming on for a ranking at some point?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
We'll need to. We'll let you know what ones are coming up. But if you're keen to come on and do a full top 10,
yeah, I'll be a regular guest.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good fun. Well, me and Paul are going to have a wee chat later on about the next few weeks. So if there's anything that tickles your fancy, we can let you know.
Yeah, sounds good. Aye. Wait, am I allowed to ask what you put for villains, or is that not done yet?
We've done it. We've done it in the past. My number one. I don't care. Spoiler. Okay, there you go. I went for the Green Goblin, Spider-Man 1.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Who did I go for again? I think I went for Darth Vader because like Star Wars growing up was such an iconic movie for me, and he was always the big bad one that you're always fear of. So that's why I went for Darth Vader.
I think like Darth Vader is an interesting one because he is a kind of like iconic villain, but then he also turns out to be like the hero of the first kind of like everyone thinks it's a kind of the tables kind of turn because everyone thinks he's going to be the hero. So I always found that an interesting one with Darth Vader because it's so iconic, but like his story is just so kind of like
Well, you said that one, didn't you, in the ranking?
Yeah, I put him lower because of that. Because in the prequels, but also the Clone Wars animated series, which if you haven't seen is a must watch. He does get redeemed a lot in those.
There's probably a good more. Like I'm really bad.
These lists, there's so much you can put in them. Like it's so hard to cut them down to 10 and stuff. So,
I've got a mate. Actually, I've got a mate who I actually might ask if he wants to come on. He's just so good at making film lists. He's always making film lists, and I just thought about him when you asked me to do this because, like, I remember just sitting next to him one day, and he had just like listed out all of his like favorite movies from like 1 to 100, and that wasn't even half of it. It was just like he would do all this. He would like write down his favorite comedies, everything. I was like, wow. Like I struggled to put 6 together.
He sounds like my kind of guy. If you look at my honorable mention list and these things.
It's nice. So it gets the brain working though. See, thinking about your lists, it kind of gets the brain waves going, you know.
And it's fun because although we don't always think of all the ones we want to talk about, something like this and the podcast we do after each one, we end up talking about it and saying, "Oh, I wish I'd said that one," and it's quite organic in that sense. I had one last one before. Sorry, Paul.
I was going to say it's quite funny because you're quite like Colin's quite organised when he does lists. Like he's done them like in advance quite a bit, and I'm quite instinctive, so I'll just kind of make up a list like 10-15 minutes before the show's meant to start, and like just go. There we go. That's my favourite kind of thing.
Yeah, just like
quite a weird way we do it.
Just spontaneity.
Yeah, that's basically it. So I usually have like 2 honourable mentions, and Colin's got about 40.
I've got one more for today, and then Paul's got a couple before we wrap up. Again, judging by your answers so far, you do seem to like this kind of thing. Favorite Harry Potter movie? Or is it not your kind of thing?
I need to be honest. I've only ever seen like 5 of the Harry Potters or 4.
What was your favorite of the 4?
Not bad. I don't know.
Now, you can pass that question. That's fine. You've
No,
done
no,
well
like,
to get to this point.
this is something that I think I've lost a lot of friends over this. Like I don't know. I suppose I don't know the second one. I don't know.
Nice. That's
I
my
didn't.
favorite.
I didn't connect with Harry Potter. It wasn't very realistic, was it? It was about wizards. I don't know.
Okay.
So, Colin's reconsidering asking you on this podcast now.
Fine. Everyone's got.
I'm just joking. I don't know. I've never like. I was always a kind of Lord of the Rings person. It was always
Nothing wrong with that. I like Lord of the Rings. I'd probably say I'd probably say you. I probably like Lord of the Rings more than Harry Potter. Like I was meant to be on the ranking show, but I'd caught COVID. But they went into really in depth about it. Like I've seen the movies, but I've only seen them once, so I couldn't really go into much depth about it, kind of thing. That wasn't something that hooked me as much as it hooked Colin and Strachan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you with Harry Potter. Like I've only ever watched the Harry Potters once. Like, or like, do you know how when you're sitting on a Sunday and someone's watching it and it's just in the background? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
should read the books then.
I read the first book when it first came out, and then I just gave up on it. I don't like wizards.
Gandalf's a wizard.
Damn it.
Well, you had 2 questions which are actually unrelated to our rankings, but well, one of them is we could actually do a ranking video on one of these, by the way.
Good day.
So you want to fire off?
Right, okay. So, in a complete ideal world, who would be your favourite dream collaboration, like actor, actress wise? Who would you want to work with?
Oh, that's a good one. I think about this all the time because I just think like, who would I love to work with? Like, someone I always think about working with that's kind of still to come into their kind of acting prime is like Jack. You know Jack O'Connell?
Oh yeah. He's in is it 71? He's in.
Yeah, he's in 71. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's done a few great films, but I always thought, like, I'd love to work with him. I just feel as if he's just got a lot of, he's just kind of gets sensibilities, and he's got a disposition that's kind of, I feel like a lot like my own. I feel like he's got a lot to give in terms of performances. So I would love to work with him, and I've seen him in a lot of good movies. So that's something that's the thing, like, it's not unheard of for like kind of independent, smaller filmmakers to kind of get in touch with like, bigger actors and stuff to make films. Like sometimes actors, when they're not making millions in Hollywood, sometimes they do actually care about the story in the film. And there's loads of stories about actors kind of, coming to work in smaller films. So sometimes it is a possibility, but like, yeah, Jack O'Connell, that's a good question. Like, yeah, that's a really, really good question. In terms of female actors, like, oh man, I didn't expect you to ask that. Sorry, I've not actually.
We'll tag anybody you mention in the promotion.
And they probably won't read it.
I'll get blocked. Yeah, man, that's a really great question.
Told you, Trevor McDonald, kind of.
Trevor McDonald.
Neil, you're going to come back on, so see if you have extra thoughts post podcast. You can always bring them
in. Cool. I'm just trying to think of a female actor that I'd love to work with. Nah, I've lost it. It's just right on my head there. Sorry.
Paul, you had one last question there, didn't you?
And your favourite director of all time?
Director.
Neil Boyle.
Neil Boyle. Nah, he's a chump. Paul, like biggest inspiration, favorite director for me is definitely like Paul Thomas Anderson. I just remember watching like, do you guys know who Paul Thomas Anderson is?
I don't know him by name, but I might know some of the things you're going to mention.
He's made like, his most recent film was called Licorice Pizza. It was in cinema.
But that got nominated for an Oscar.
I think so. He made you should check some of these films out. It really is like, it's like great American cinema. He made There Will Be Blood. He made The Master. By the way, if you want to see one of the kind of modern greatest performances that you'll ever watch from like a male actor, watch The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson. It's got Joaquin Phoenix. It's set in like the 60s. It's about the 50s. It's about this guy who comes back from the war. He's like a sailor, and he's kind of really messed up. Absolutely unbelievable. It's about this guy that basically finds a cult, and sadly, the film didn't really get any like critical or like commercial success. But it's one of my favorite movies, and like the performances in it are just absolutely unbelievable. So if you get the chance to watch The Master, but yeah, There Will Be Blood, The Master, Boogie Nights. Have you heard of Boogie Nights?
I've heard of Boogie Nights, yeah.
Yeah, so Boogie Nights, he's made Magnolia. That was kind of like a big ensemble, really, really famous film he done. And it was kind of like Tom Cruise played a small part in it as well.
All right, okay.
He's just made all these. Have you heard of Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler? It was basically like Adam Sandler's first serious film.
Does Adam Sandler do serious films?
I was going to say.
Adam Sandler does serious films. He's done it twice. He was in Punch Drunk Love, and he was in Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah, Netflix one.
Yeah, two great movies, but yeah, like I just remember starting to watch Paul Thomas Anderson films, and I was like, wow, this is something different. It's like really, really just great cinema, and I've definitely taken a lot of inspiration from him. But I can't knock Steven Spielberg. Like he's just one of the greats, man.
Yeah. He's done well recently, hasn't he? He's done well recently with that West Side Story.
Yeah, I've not watched it yet, but like Steven Spielberg is just definitely like he's like one of the greats.
Yeah.
Neil, we've clinched it. We'll do a top 10 movie directors ranking at some point.
Yeah, cool.
That can be the one.
That sounds good. But yeah, like that's my favorite. That's my favorite director. But he also writes all his scripts as well. He's a writer. And I appreciate that. I appreciate writer directors.
Although, can we do it now because you just given away your number one?
No, I mean
we'll work it. There's still another 9 there, isn't there?
I will host it then.
It'll just be called our bottom 9.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, we better start drawing to a close now. We've went an hour and 13 minutes, which is good. Hopefully. Wow. So just to do the shameless plugs at the end of the podcast. So this is going out on, Paul, you always keep me right with the nights. This is going out on
Thursday,
the 7th of April.
And then on Monday we've got a ranking.
Yep.
Your choice?
Yep, we're going to rank our favourite Star Wars video games to celebrate the new Lego Star Wars game coming out this week. So it's a really nerdy one, but one we're quite looking forward to. And we won't go any further forward than that because we're still trying to firm up a bit of the schedule. So this podcast you can see on YouTube and you can see our lovely faces, but you can also catch us on Anchor, Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast. Did I say that twice? No?
I don't know.
Google Podcast. But also, I've just signed up today. We're going to be on Amazon Podcast and Audible as well, which is pretty cool. And you can also find us under Seismic Cinema on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I think that's all of them. So all we've really got left to do is to see if Neil can remember what our slogan is from earlier.
Yes, of course I remember. The power of escapism.
Nice. And what do you think of the slogan, Neil? Is that something you kind of live by? Based on what you said tonight, I think it's definitely something you relate to.
Yeah, no, it's a nice slogan. I like it. I think that's a kind of double-edged sword as well. Like, because escapism is like, I mean, okay, put it this way: when cinema started to be a leisure activity, it was kind of deemed escapism because, like, when the World War was going on, like, people would go to the cinema to kind of take their attention away from what was actually going on outside. But nowadays, you know, cinema is kind of more of like an art form, and you can go and you can watch Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson like throw a car at a helicopter, or you can go and watch a really nice, like, really powerful, like, drama, like a French film, a Chinese film, you know. So, like, that doesn't always have to be something that you escape from, but most of the time, I mean, for me personally, like, when I'm in the cinema, I love it. Like, I love being detached from the world, and I just love being focused on, like, the movie and in the world. Like, I love it. I always love going to the movies. So I totally agree with you. Like, I think it's such a great expression.
Now, that's a good point. No one's kind of given us that viewpoint before, but it's nice to, because even if it's a more grounded real world thing, you're still escaping to that world and that story. Like, you're, I mean, escaping your own life to really take part in that story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, put it this way: if you're able to sit in front of a screen for an hour and a half and watch something unfold in front of you, and for it to be able to touch you or to move you or to, like, to make you feel something, and for you to come out and be like, wow, what did I just watch? Or like, wow, that was amazing. Or like, I felt something there. Like, you know, it's an amazing thing, because, like, it's like people that go into an art gallery and they stand in front of a painting for 20 minutes, you know, they get something from it, and what that is, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I agree. I like the expression. I'm going to get it tattooed on me.
Man, that slogan, Colin, got real deep.
I'm getting Coffin walk on my neck.
I'm going to get 1815 on my pinky toe.
Just get on each toe.
Right. We're starting to talk about feet, so that's probably a good place to stop. But Neil, thanks so much for giving up your Tuesday evening when this was recorded to talk about your career and your upcoming movie. And we hope the people listening check out both some of your previous stuff and your new one. So we're looking forward to coming to see that on the 16th.
No worries. And thank you for inviting me on. This was really fun.
Yeah, really appreciate having you on, man. It's good to see you again as well.
I know. I'll probably, when I'm back up from Southampton, I'll see you on the 5th, the 16th, on the Saturday when it's playing. But yeah, thank you so much. This has been really nice, and yeah, hopefully be on again. Just give me a shout, because I don't do anything on a Tuesday after 8 o'clock anyway. So
yeah, we'll get the director one sorted.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good. Okay.
Right. See you later, folks.
Thanks so much. Cheers. See ya.
Did I just hang up now?
No.